Hello everyone and welcome. It's Yana. I've got another new release from Spellbinders. We have got the Yana's City Holiday Collection, and I have part of it here. I've got the City Holiday dies, and there are a lot of dies in this set. In fact, I've got two of my magnetic sheets for it so that I can get them all to fit in there. So we are going to be working with this product today, but I'm going to show you some of the other pieces of her collection. We have also got the Happiest Holiday Better Press Plate, and it has some leafy elements, some holly berries, and it's got the Happiest Holidays sentiment that is on there. Now, if you want to mass make some holiday cards, this would be great because you could load up your press plate with this and just press a whole bunch of them and die cut them out and have your card design all in one, right like that. I think it was beautiful. I used some nested dies and I just created a shaped arched card and just layered them up, but this would be perfect for mass producing. Now here is the Shadow Joy, and if you like die cutting, this is another one that would be great for mass producing because it is such a big area of sentiment that you could just make, just die cut out a whole bunch of the sentiments and layer them up and make mass, just a mass amount of cards. Now here I'm showing you the layering guide. This one is the bottom layer, this is the top layer, and then these pieces are all the third layer, so that you can have really three different dimensions or different colors on there. It's really pretty. I'm going to bring in a card. I made this Sending Joy here, Sending You Joy, and just made the joy the focal point and added the Sending You from the Christmas sentiment, and I've just layered it up and used an embossed panel, and you've got a great card. This would be another one. I added Have a Joyful Christmas on the inside just because I thought it'd be pretty, and I used this die set here for the sentiments. You've got the 3-layer Christmas, and then you've got all of these others that you stamp once and die cut once, and then you have the 3-layered Christmas. And this is a great set to have in your collection for Christmas because you can produce them so quickly. So we are going to bring in the City Holiday, and I've got the assembly guide there just to show you. I'm going to use one of the DIY Christmas add-on packs to the colors so that I can choose. I've got a 5x7 card. Now I sped this up because there is a lot of pieces, and I knew it would be a lengthy video if I did not. So you can see I have got the city house or apartment building or whatever you want to call it. And I've already got it layered up with some foam tape. For some reason, my cardstock just bowed a little bit. And I did use Spellbinders cardstock there. I believe that's Anchor. And we've got our window sills that we're putting in there. And I sped it up so you didn't have to watch me put all 6 in. But I'm just laying kind of like the window pane or the inside of the room or whatever you want to call it there. And then we've got the frames for each of those as well. And so I've got a swag here, and I was trying to determine if I needed to lay the swag down before I laid my window frame. And I think because there's a little bit of edge around the lighter gray panel, I can lay this window frame down in there. It'll lay inset, and then I can add my swag. This is full of fun decorative details. If you like to play with dies and you like to decorate, you're going to love this set. This is right up my alley. I love to decorate for the season. In fact, I have a huge closet full of all seasonals decorations so that I can change it out as the season goes. So super, super fun set. This is just like a swag curtain set here, and I'm going to get it laid down on here, try and get it lined up nice and neat. And then we'll have some different types of curtains for our other windows. We won't be having window coverings on everything. This is like one of those shades or something that you could pull down or raise up. And it's really cute. And then we'll lay the frame around it. I'm going to show you as I lay the curtains down, and then I will edit out just laying the frames down on those that don't have curtains just to save time. It is the same process. So we've got the swag, we've got the shade type, we've got some straight curtains and that we're laying down here, and then we've got some curtains that are pulled back as well. So we've got 3 different types of curtains and then that swag. So it makes for an interesting look. So I've got the frame on there. We'll get our other set of curtains laid down, and then we'll add the frames, and then we'll move on to our door. So this is a really fun set, and you could do it in any color. I was just looking at the color deck, and I've really been liking this color scheme that I've been using, and so I just kind of keep recreating it. Now this one's quite a bit darker with that the two dark grays, but I think it goes together nicely, and it follows the color deck card very well. That color deck card is interesting. It talks about, I laid it, where did I put it? It talks about how Christmas colors were not always red and green. They didn't always start out that way. If you look at the back of the DIY color cards, they have kind of a nice little detail or story on them. And as I'm assembling this, I'll just share. It says, red and green weren't always the Christmas colors. Before red and green became the official Christmas palette, holiday decorations came in all sorts of colors. Early Victorian Christmas cards often featured pastel blues, purples, and golds. The dominance of red and green only took off in the 20th century, largely due to advertising and branding. So that is what the back of the color card says. And each one of them has something, similar or relative to it. So now I'm going to I've got the door down, and I've got the frame around it. I'm going to put the rooftop on there, and I've got to straighten it up. I've got it offset there a little bit. And we'll just straighten it up. And now we've got our, I guess, townhouse or apartment building, whatever you want to call it. And we've got all of these little wreaths. And I did them all the same. And I've got a little navy blue bow that we're going to put on there. This is all Spellbinders cardstock. And I put the other three down, cut them out, and then laid the bow on the swag, and I'm going to put a wreath on the front door. Didn't think you need to see me assemble 4 of those wreaths, so for time, essence, and you'll see it shifted on me, and I go to put the bow, and I'm like, oh, it moved. So we'll have to pick it up and move it back where it belongs and get our bow laid down on there. And I generally have a wreath on my front door, and I think it looks really pretty. So for the most part, we've got our building together. Now, this set also comes with a cat, and so I'm going to have a cat sitting in the windowsill, and I'm going to bring in some foam and just pop it up, just to add a little bit of dimension. Just got a tiny piece of foam. I'm going to trim off the side. I'm kind of off camera there, but I've got my scissors snipping it down so it doesn't show. And we've got our cat sitting in the window. Now, I paused for a minute to go find some cardstock. I had to cut it since I was doing a 5x7. I generally keep A2 size panels handy, but I went and cut it. I'm going to bring in my black soot and my blending brush, and I'm going to try and darken this up to kind of create a dark scene like that card had it on it. And it won't be very dark, and I sped this up quite a bit because I fussed with this. I just went really, really, really light-handed because I was afraid to put that black soot on there, and then I realized that I just needed to keep going and put more down. I got more comfortable with it as I began to lay it down. At first, I thought I would just have a poorly blended soot on there, and so I took care with it. Now I'm bringing in my Hero Arts white pigment ink refiller, just squirted it down there. I'm going to add some water to it, and I'm going to use the brush and try to flick some snowflakes on this. And at first it took forever, and then I brought this pin in, and I started flicking, and it still took forever. And then I really started flicking hard, and I managed to cover my laptop and my glass mat and everything around with some spots. So I had to take a minute and clean it up. I'm just touching it, making sure it's dry. I had my fan running, and I did kind of hold it there with a fan. My hands are covered, so I'm going to take a minute and get my hands cleaned up after I get this laid down on here. I've got ink everywhere. I mean, my laptop was covered. Everything around was covered. I've got a table runner on this desk, and it was covered too. So we'll get that lined up on there. I'm going to get my hands cleaned so that I can bring in my building, and we'll get it laid down on there. I think it looks nice on there. I kind of like that hue around the top of it. I think it makes for an interesting look, and we'll get that laid down on there. And then I'm going to, because when I was splattering, I splattered everything. I splattered the card. So I decided that I needed, because I had like 2 or 3 splatters on there, that I needed to add more. So I did that. I went off camera. I cleaned the glass mat again and got all that off of there. And then I'm going to bring the snow for the roof line in. I'm trying to get some black soot, but evidently I didn't have much on that brush after I got done. I thought for sure there'd be plenty on there, but just get a tiniest little bit of gray on there. We'll lay this down with some glue, and then I'll realize that I need to put some foam on it. So off camera, I will tuck some foam back in there so that it will lay flat and it will not bend in. And so that's what I'll do. And then I've got it pressed down with some foam, just a thin foam strip. And I've got my snow, which is kind of in the gray, and, you know, it's kind of in the city, you know, and the snow gets dirty in the city. So I made it a gray color, I guess, except for what has freshly landed on the roof. Looks nice and pristine, but what they've shoveled is certainly going to be dirty. I should say plowed. And we'll get this laid down on there. Now, it was too high. It was covered up my window scene, so I trimmed it down quite a bit. And I'm going to pop it up, and I'm just popping the bottom, and then I'll be able to do some tucking around there because I have some other pieces. I've got some decorative Christmas trees. I've got a dog that we can add, and we're just going to do some tucking on here. So here's the rest of my little bits and pieces. And I've got this white dog. I die cut him out in white because I thought I have a black cat. And I thought he's just too stark. So I took my black fine, it's a cricket pen. It's just really fine. It happened to be in the my little roundabout thing that I have where my spinny thing with all my tools. And I just grabbed it and I thought, I'll color a circle around his eye. I'll color his leg. I'll add some patches of black and just kind of make him look almost like a Dalmatian dog or a spotted dog or whatever. And so we'll do that, and that'll make him look a little bit more interesting and not so plain. And I should have paused and got a black alcohol marker, and I probably could have done it quicker, but I did like the fact that it had such a fine point on it, and I could control it, you know, on the little areas. So I even put a little black on his ear and on his backside, and then the tip of his hind foot. And I think that was super cute and just made him look like a different type of dog. I wanted to hit the nose too. So I'll position him on there, but we're going to add our Christmas trees, and then we will figure out where we want our dog to be. So I'm just kind of looking at it, and I decide I want to tuck those in behind the snow because they're more like, you know, on the sidewalk or the porch beside the house or whatever. And so I'm just going to tuck them in behind the snow, the heap of snow. And then I've got a indigo star die cut out for each of the trees, and so I'll bring those in as well and just embellish the trees with that. I probably could have used, you know, any kind of a little floral circle die that I could have added to make it look like bulbs on the tree, but I thought, well, these are outdoor trees, so we're just going to put a bow on them and just leave it like that. So I'm just tucking that tree in, and we'll get its star laid down on it. Now, in addition to the dog, there are also some packages. There are two packages, a tall skin one and a thin one, and then a shorter, squattier one. And you've got two different types of bows. You've also got the box lid so that you can add it for dimension for this one. And so I added it, actually have them for both. And then I'm going to use the longer ribbon and bow to embellish this. And then I'll bring in the other package and its little topper. We'll get it glued down on there, and then we'll add the bow to it. Super cute. If you love the bits and pieces, this is it, man. You've got all the bits and pieces. And this would not need to be a Christmas card. This could be anytime. I thought, ooh, I've got an extra bow. Let's put it on the dog. So we just wrapped it around the dog's neck. I've got my packages. I need to figure out what I'm going to do with them. The example on the site just had some tucked in the window, but I thought I wouldn't just have presents sitting there. I would have a tree. So I'm going to cut this one down so I can push it under my snow a little bit more, and then I can tuck some packages around it. So we'll just get it laid down. I wanted it below my swag. That's why I cut it down. And then I'm going to tuck my packages in around it. We'll come back in and glue them down. Just trying to get a dry fit here on my packages. And we're going to put the squatty package on this side, and then we'll add the taller package on the other side. and just let them show through our window scene. So much fun. So I've got another star I'm going to add to the Christmas tree inside the house, and then we'll get our dog laid down. And I think it looks really, really cute. I added some black to the dog. I thought, let's make a little tuxedo cat. My friend Daria has a tuxedo cat, and I thought I'm just going to paint the chest white and make a little tuxedo cat. And we've got our card. Now I will bring in some embellishments and some sentiments, and we'll finish this card up. Oh, I also brought the jelly roll pen just to kind of add some dimension to the snow and just make some lines in there. So I just added that for extra interest. Probably did not need that, but added it for fun. So here I already had the Christmas 3-layer sentiment die cut out in my dish, and it was in the right colors because I've been working with this color scheme. And I thought it would be fun to add that. So I'm going to bring in Have a Happy Christmas. And I've got that bowl full of sentiments. And so I'm just going to those and using those so that I don't have to make some new ones. So that'll finish up our card until I realized that I had some Spellbinders, opalescent gems or whatever, and I'm going to add, I just had 3, and I thought they'll look like big snowflakes coming down. So I put 2 at the top and then 1 on the side and just added a little bit of shine to it. I think it's a fun card. It would be fun in a lot of colors. So thanks for watching. Have a great day. Take care. Bye-bye now.